So I'm logged in right now to Off2Class. Off2Class is a tool designed for ESL teachers, and I'm currently on our lesson library. So here you have over 500 different lessons that you can use to teach your English as a second language lessons. And it's quite an extensive library. At the top, you've got the listening activities, speaking, and reading activities, so very much topical-based lessons. Under, you've got our IELTS categories, our business English series, our functional lessons. Under that, a huge idioms category, and from there down, it's very much focused on grammar. So a huge, huge library of different grammar activities. Now, obviously, it's quite a big library. So you can use our search bar up here in blue to find the lessons that you're looking for. And I can do so by typing in here. I could type in something topical like travel. And here you have a number of our travel-based lessons. You've got a business travel lesson, idioms describing travel, and a speaking activity called Visit to the Travel Agency. I can also type in grammar-based topics. So I could type in something like present simple negative. And here you have all the lessons that are covering the present simple negative or present simple questions, or what have you. So the search bar is definitely a great way of narrowing down what you're looking for. And under the search bar, you've got some level filters. So you can use these to filter the library by level. So let's say you were teaching today a student who is either pre-intermediate or intermediate. You're not exactly sure. I can select pre-intermediate and intermediate, and now only the pre-intermediate and intermediate lessons are being reflected back to me in the library. And likewise, when I go ahead and search, type in something topical like doctor. So I've got one lesson here, visit to the doctor. That's a pre-intermediate speaking activity. And I'm going to go ahead and launch a lesson. So I think maybe today I'll launch a business English lesson. So business English advertising. And when I go ahead and launch that lesson, the system asks me who I'm teaching today. So I'm going to pretend that I'm just teaching one student right now, that you guys are my student, Carlos. And I'm going to enroll Carlos into the lesson. And now we're in the lesson. You've got the lesson content on the right and the teacher notes on the left. Every time I move a slide, the teacher notes move with me. And the teacher notes are for me to see as the teacher, not for you guys to see as the students. And the teacher notes coach me on how to teach the content. For slides like this, they give me different ideas on how to concept check the target language, how to adapt the content, how to bring the content alive. For slides that are very much exercises, the teacher notes provide me with the answers. Now, you want to hide the teacher notes from your students while being able to see them yourself. And depending on whether you're teaching online, like I am right now with you guys, or whether you're teaching in person, there's some different ways of doing that. But either way, you click this full screen button here in the top right of the panel. And that causes the teacher notes to pop up. And now I just make a bit of space for the teacher notes. Sorry, 1 second here. And now I can see the teacher notes on my screen while they're hidden from you on the other side of the video conferencing classroom. Now, if I was teaching in person, like in a classroom or in a live conversation class together, I could actually track the teacher notes on my mobile device. And the way I would do that is I would log in on my mobile device to Off2Class with the exact same credentials that I use to log in on a desktop. And then I would see a big blue button that says track your active classrooms teacher notes. So I can actually sync my teacher notes to my mobile device while I'm teaching in person. And so this is the lesson content. As you can see, it's very much designed for a screen it's been built from the ground up for kind of a digital environment. Lots of space for adapting the content, lots of room to build conversation as you're flowing. And the really nice thing, you've got some great tools that you can use to adapt the content live. In the top right here of my screen, next to that full screen button, you'll see the different tools we have at our fingertips. So I've got a pen tool that I can use to draw on the screen. I can select different colors. I've got a text tool. So this is me typing on the screen. And I've got a magnifying glass that I can use to work the content, to focus my students' attention on different parts of the content. And another great feature of our system is what we call the lesson canvas. So what I can actually do is in the top left of the screen, you'll see a canvas button. And when I press that, I actually get brought out to a interactive whiteboard. And here I can import text, I can import images, and I can import YouTube videos. And I can build all the different stuff that I like to use to teach business English advertising, and it'll be saved for next time I teach this lesson. So for each teacher, each lesson's canvas automatically saves. So every time you open up, let's say, present simple negative, your canvas will be saved from the last time you built it. Likewise, every time you open up, visit to the travel agency, speaking activity, your canvas will be saved from the last time you built it. So some teachers like to use these canvases to build ahead of time for their classes, and some teachers like to build these canvases live with their students. And so I'm going to come out of full screen for a second, and I'm going to pretend that we're now at the end of the class. So I'm going to go ahead and close the classroom. That's this purple button down here. And when I press close the classroom, the system asks me who I'm teaching today. And the system asks me if I want to send the homework to the student I'm teaching today. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to send the homework to Carlos. Now Carlos gets notified that his teacher has assigned him a piece of homework. And when Carlos logs into Off2Class, I'll just show you what it looks like from Carlos's perspective when he logs into Off2Class. So I'm here on the student management panel. This is where I can see all my students that got registered to Off2Class. I'm going to click on Carlos. And this is Carlos's profile on Off2Class. And as you can see in his lesson history table, top row of the lesson, today is the 15th of August, and we taught Carlos business English advertising. And here's the homework. And so I'm going to log in as my student, as Carlos. So you can actually log in to your student's accounts directly from your teacher accounts. And this is a really nice feature. It's kind of like spying on your student, but it's also a nice feature just in case your student doesn't know, there's ever any confusion. I didn't get that piece of homework, or I don't know how to use the system. You can actually log in as your student directly from within your teacher account. So I'm going to press this login as your student button. And this is Carlos's account. So he's got two pieces of homework up here. This is the one we just gave him, Business One Advertising. And also down here under the lesson summaries, every time you enroll Carlos into a class, he gets delivered a lesson summary. So I'm going to launch the lesson summary for business advertising. I'll just show you. It tends to be about 5 to 7 of the key slides. And the last slide is always the canvas. So Carlos gets delivered a copy of the canvas that you built in class. Just show you what a homework assignment looks like. This one, first page is multiple choice, going over some of the vocabulary from the lesson. This homework builds directly off the lesson that you taught him. And the second page are 2 short answers. This we always like to give the opportunity for the student to write, and a long answer where the student writes from their own perspective. And now close the homework. So your student, Carlos, logs into Off2Class between classes, completes their homework, submits it to you as the teacher. And when I go back, I'm just going to show you what a completed homework assignment looks like. So I believe, so I'm going to open up my student's assignment here. Oh, sorry. I believe it was Carlos. Yeah, so Carlos has a completed piece of homework here called business negotiation. I'm going to open that up for you guys so you can see what happens. So a lot of one-on-one teachers will actually take up their homework live with the student at the start of their next session together as a way of kind of closing the loop from the last class. But of course, you can also take up the homework on your own and submit and review your students' homework for them. So we make it very simple for you to review your students' homework. So you've got Carlos's answers on the right, and you've got the answer key on the left. And anytime Carlos's answers don't match the answer key, we highlight them in orange. And that shows you as the teacher to kind of stop and look at what happened there. And we automatically mark the homework. So you can also just rely directly on the auto mark system. But obviously for longer answer questions, like these ones, there isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer. So for those, we've got these feedback tools on the right here, where you can leave feedback directly to your student. You can use the check mark or the cross, as I have here, or you can also drop the notepad here on any question to leave a comment. So you could leave something like encouraging, like, great work, Carlos, great sentence structure. And I can bold that, I can underline it, I can change the color. For longer sentence correction type work, I could actually input my student's answer. And what that will mean is that the student's answer will come in, and then I could correct the student's answer directly in the comment. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then now here are the comments. These are the comments that Carlos will see. Now, when I go ahead and close the homework, the system asks me if I want to mark this homework as reviewed or not reviewed. The only distinction here is that if I mark the homework as reviewed, Carlos will get a copy of the answer key superimposed on his answers. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the homework as reviewed. And I'll just go back to Carlos's account to show you what the reviewed piece of homework looks like. So here you've got business negotiation. That's the one we were just reviewing. I'm going to open up the homework. And as I said, the answer key got superimposed onto Carlos's work. And you've got the comments that we left. These are the more general comments that we left that were at the bottom of his homework. And this is the comment that I just wrote when we were in the homework. That's the comment that I just left with Carlos. So it's a really nice way of personalizing the experience. If your students are going to take the time to complete the homework, it's nice that you leave some commentary for them. Of course, you can rely on the auto marking system, but it's nice to leave that kind of personal attention and feedback back to your students. So I'm going to just go back to my teacher account. And so that's the basic loop I wanted to show you. It's really about the live teacher-led lesson, assign the homework at the end, student logs in between classes to complete their homework, and then you get it back as a teacher and you can review it. And that was really attacking our 550 lessons really in an unstructured manner. So you'd really be kind of in a hop on, hop off style. You could locate the lesson that you need that day based on your knowledge of your student or based on what you want to teach the student, and you could find it within our library. There's also a really structured way of attacking our library, and that's by using our placement test. So you can actually assign our placement test to your students, existing students or new students, and you do that by pressing on this green button here, this big assign test button here. And when I click on that, I can either assign it to one of my existing students that I have registered to the system or set up a prospective student right here. I can add a nickname, an email, a password, and confirm the password. And then what will happen is the student will be notified that their teacher has assigned them a placement test. They'll log into Off2Class to complete the placement test. And the placement test is 100 questions. It draws off a bank of 800 questions. So you can sign it multiple times. It's all multiple choice. It goes from the A1 level up to the C1 level. And the really interesting thing, actually, as the teacher, is what you get back. So I know that one of my students has recently completed the test. So I'm going to go to student management. Jose has recently completed the test. And I'll open up his results for you. And here on the results, you've got Jose's proficiency level. He's a B1, and this is based on the CFR. So we show you what a CFR B1 means. And under his proficiency level, you can see this gap analysis. So every time he got a question wrong or answered I don't know on the test, we show you what the question was, what the answer was, what the student put, and what lesson you can use from our library to open up the lesson that deals with that deficiency. So you can teach directly off this plan. And it's a very powerful tool if you've got a new student who wants to try you out as a teacher. You can open up the results with the student and show them where all their deficiencies lie, and then use the different lessons to kind of, as a learning plan or as an individual curriculum to teach this student. So, most students have fossilized errors, and what I mean is, you can see that Carlos is a B1, but he's got all these errors at the A1 and A2 level that you can fix for the student. And so, he's a B1, but obviously he's got issues with object pronouns, possessive adjectives. So you could use this plan to teach the student directly off of here. And all these lessons also go into Carlos's profile and go in under his learning plan. So you can teach these lessons directly off the learning plan with Carlos. And so that's basically what I wanted to show you guys today. It's quite a powerful system. There's a lot to discover, and I gave you a little brief outline. But perhaps if you guys have any questions for me, you can use the QA button right now in the top left of your panel, and I can take up your questions live right now. And so please feel free to post your questions, and I'll do my best job to answer them. You can ask anything you want. It doesn't necessarily need to be about Off2Class. It can be about online teaching or using digital content in classroom environments. Feel free to ask away. Okay. Well, I must have done a really good job of showing you guys off to class because we have no questions. So that's fine. So I will probably. Oh, John Carlos actually posted a question in the chat function. Yeah, so John Carlos is asking about assigning homework to do writing composition. So if I understand the question properly, John Carlos is asking about using our homework system to do writing composition. So we like to practice writing a lot, and we push most of the writing practice in off class. We push to the homework system. So almost all of our lessons that are, certainly pre-intermediate and up, the homework for those lessons has pretty significant writing components. So I'll just show you a piece of homework. This is an advanced speaking activity called Urban Social Issues. And the first page, similar to the last one, was multiple choice, going over some of the vocabulary from the lesson. But the rest are these kind of writing compositions. This is a 100-word opinion piece about a student's perspective on a relatively, personalized level, and your students will submit their written composition to you, and using our marking tools, you can actually take up their written composition. I think you remember I showed you there was that input student answer button. So you can import their answer into your comment, and then you can correct their writing composition and leave them feedback on their writing that way, all digitally, and we make it simple for you to do the kind of sentence correction and writing composition correction. So yeah, so Juan Carlos, yeah, all our homework that is kind of pre-intermediate and up always has this pretty significant writing component. Mary, did you have a question? I see that you raised your hand. Did you want to post your question using the QA button if you've got a question? Oh, okay. It might have just been a wrong click. No problem. Okay, guys. Well, if there's no more questions today. Oh, okay. Mary's asking what is the best platform to use for Off2Class? So Mary, I assume you're thinking of teaching online. Is that correct? So for online lessons, yeah, so for online lessons, it really depends. We integrate with any video conferencing system. You can use this with Skype, with Google Hangouts. It really depends on what you want to use. My suggestion is that if you haven't made, yeah, you can use this with QQ. If you haven't made a decision yet of what video conferencing system to use, I would recommend giving Zoom.us a try. Zoom.us is actually the system we're on now. It's the system we're using for this webinar, but you can also use it for online lessons. And the basic accounts are free. So the really nice thing there is if you're teaching one-on-one, you don't need a pro account. You can use the basic accounts, the free accounts. And it's got a great functionality. The best part about Zoom is that the picture and the sound is clear. And if your students are joining from an environment that has a weak internet connection, it's very good at controlling the video conferencing classroom. So that, how Skype sometimes the calls die or everything crashes. Zoom never crashes. So Zoom has a very good system for kind of controlling the internet connectivity during weak internet connections. Jamie's asking about how do you get students online. Well, that's a good question. I mean, there's no easy answer there. I mean, if you're looking for your own independent students online, we blog about this a lot. So there's a hell of a lot of good material on our blog about this. Just today, I wrote about how to find students on italki. Italki being one of the most popular tutor marketplaces in the world. So this would be a good article for you to read. This is about how to find students on italki, and we've got a step-by-step here advice on how best to set everything up to find students online. So if you go to my blog, go to the very first article. This could be helpful for you if you're looking to find students online, Jamie. Mary's asking is if she signs up for Off2Class, will she be able to teach students now? Mary, I'm assuming you have students that you'd like to teach? Oh, absolutely. So, yep, if you were to come on to Off2Class now, I would assume you already have an account for Off2Class, maybe a free trial account. Yeah, you're ready to go. As soon as you activate your account with a subscription, that happens on your profile page, on your account page. You'll see a big, I'm already assigned to an account here, but you'll see a big button that says subscribe to an account now. So yeah, as soon as you subscribe to an account, you're ready to go. So yeah, that's subscriptions all happen. You can just click on your profile page when you're logged into Off2Class, and that's where the subscriptions occur, Mary. So not a problem at all. And do you have any other questions here? I think we're covered. So if there's no other questions, oh, we might have one more. Mary's asking, I'm just wondering, what does my student see in China? Your student sees whatever you're, so Mary, basically what happens is you provide an online lesson. Oh, okay. So Mary, I think what Mary's asking is, does our site work in China? Yes, absolutely. We have lots of students using our site in China, and everything works just fine. So your students see what I just showed you in the webinar today. And of course, for the live lessons, you'll just be using us through the screen share, whether you're using Zoom or QQ or Skype. They will be joining your lesson, your video conferencing class, and you'll be screen sharing. So everything that your student sees during the live lessons is controlled by you, by the teacher. There's nothing for the student to do when they log in, when they join your lesson. And then between lessons, your students will log into Off2Class to complete their homework, take placement tests, to review their lesson summaries, and to take notes. So it's pretty simple. No. So Mary's asking for students to see the rate. So maybe what I should do is log in as a student to show you what it looks like from the student's perspective. So I'm going to just log in right now as a student. And this is what Off2Class looks like from the student's perspective. You've got, all you have is a logout button, a support button, and a student button. And basically it's a one-page system. This works on any internet-connected device. So this is what it looks like on an iPhone. This is what it looks like on a tablet. This is the system. And Mary, you mentioned that your students are in mainland China. We can also translate the student interface into Chinese for them. So this is pretty helpful for beginner students. So all the different buttons and labels we can actually translate into Chinese for them. And so this is what your student sees. Basically, they see their homework assignments, their past homework assignments, and their lesson summaries. So we don't sell this to students. We only sell this system directly to teachers and schools. So your students won't see rates or anything talking about teachers. They'll see a pure student portal when they're in Off2Class. So I hope that answers your question, Mary. Juan Carlos is asking, is it possible to assign a grade? So typically we do the homework a little bit less formally. So it's really about giving the personal feedback and providing the answer key to the student. That being said, you could assign a grade just using our note-taking system. So what I mean is, if you go to someone's homework assignment, I've got Gabriella here. I'm just going to open up one of her completed homework assignments. What you could do is you could drop the notepad on the bottom of the assignment where it says drop the notepad here to leave general feedback for the student. And I'm going to leave a grade. So I'm going to say B+, for example. I'm not sure what grading. This is just illustrative. I'm going to bold that, and I'm going to put that in, no, let's put that in green. And I'm going to save that. And then I'll just show you what this looks like from the student's perspective. So when I log in as Gabriella, this is the homework assignment. I'm going to open it up, and there's the grade. So you could leave a grade for your students informally. Mary's asking about modes of payments. We work off credit cards, so you can just register your credit card to the site. It can be a debit or credit card, and we take payments through credit card system. PayPal is possible on annual subscriptions. Do you not have a credit card available to you? So you can message me after about PayPal. Yeah, it's possible for us to take the payment through PayPal, but debit card's fine. As long as it's a Visa, Mastercard, or American Express debit card, we can accept a debit card. Okay, so it sounds like that's it. Oh, okay. It sounds like that's it. I hope that everybody. John Carlos is asking about Diners Club. No, so right now it's American Express, Visa, and Mastercard. But you can message me about payments, perhaps after, and I can give you some more details there. We've never had a problem accepting payments. If we need to, we can accept PayPal through annual subscriptions. So that's not a problem at all. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your attendance today and all your great questions. I'm going to sign off now. If there are any more questions that come up after the session, you can email me. Any of the emails you received from setting up the webinar, if you reply to them, they'll come directly to me. So feel free to message me. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care. I'm going to sign off now. Bye-bye.